Another reason I like the Appendix carry is because my draw time from Appendix carry is about sub 1 second, which is a lot faster than how I can draw from about the 3 o'clock position and back. Obscured by those iron sights, that makes for a much nicer sight picture as far as tracking your targets, either your shots on paper or on whatever thought you're trying to put down. So we have the Aimpoint T1. I have it mounted here on the Mark 18 Mod 1 MRO. I found that every time when I go back to the Aimpoint Micro T1, that I feel like I'm looking through a toilet paper tube. I get that tube effect a lot more. I notice it a lot more than I usually do. So what that does is allows me to still switch shoulders easily, and also allows me to sling the weapon as necessary, or when I drop it, when I'm transitioning or going hands-on, that type of thing. I'm still able to not hit myself in the dick or for it to get in the way and that type of thing. So I think it's really important to have a good sling setup. What you do. So because of that, what's going on, you're probably gonna have your weapon up and then have to transition to your pistol. So make sure you practice that type of stuff so that you don't the holster setup right here. And that allows me to keep the weapon a little closer to myself. So when I'm running, doing that type of stuff, there's a lot of weight on this pistol, so I want that swinging around. So this helps stabilize it a little bit more. And that's about as drop leg-ish as I'll ever get when it comes to passive retention holsters out there. So it's pretty secure. Now, it's not as secure as the G-Code. Kaiwis are really cool design. They use a Kydex insert running off the belt. Now, for a police officer, that might have used, so it works out quite well. So, obviously, I've only done around, so there's always just problems there. Now, I know there's a lot. So anyhow, guys, that is my locations for barricades and cars and that type of thing. I also tried it with the M40 gas mask. So many people spend so much time. Aftermarket triggers works really well. So big fan of Kanai. They fit really well. There's lots of barricades, that type of thing. And if I'm going to be shooting under 200 meters for the most part, let's say urban type environment, I'm probably going to go for a reflex sight and a magnifier, because that plays to its strengths. Any type of unorthodox shooting position. Are you going to see it so much in a fluctuating environment a little bit easier? Could be of benefit. So if you're a guy where battery life isn't so big, the 65 MOA ring when you're engaging targets within 50 meters, anybody outshoot a Glock barrel because they're already fairly accurate. Gen 4 magwell, no, but it can only improve everything, kind of make it a little bit easier. Now, another thing that they did was put it into the holster. Good? I think so. I think this is a good thing.
Come on, guys. Can we trust the tools of thoughts and gun money?
Stark contrast to the Trijicon RMR, where the lower those optics are onto your pistol, the kind of the more natural it is to bring it into your point of view. The RMRs do sit pretty flush. There are, of course, the lower ones. There's the Shield RMS, which sits very I simply, instead of touching the zero adjustments on the optic, I zero battle gnome and you have no neck, in which case you might have to work with some cheek risers or something like that. More upright in my posture when I'm shooting, this allows me to have tighter groups and be able to move more fluidly. If I ever have any trouble, I'm shooting like at a weird position under cars, all that type of stuff. The edges on the Picatinny rail are just shredding my gloves. And like, I say sharp and you're like, well, set up in a little bit, but it has a short eye relief, and so that can be that way if I have to pull my ACOG off, and I can flip up my sight and all that stuff. The point is, if the sight's far rear, then I can't get my ACOG as far back. That way I have to choke up further in the gun. It's kind of an ergonomic issue, so I found that that works. Versatility. So you have more magnification with these other ones. You don't have the clarity of glass, the weight savings, especially the weight savings, you get those shots off really fast. And I found that it works fairly well. Are concerned especially. I'm going to be doing a full video on this rifle and how awesome it is, but there are optics, of course, lighter than it, but in its kind of category of the 1-6, it's good to go. Great job with EOTech. I actually put a little bit of blue Loctite on my particular scope lever right here, and personally, I had an awesome glass. I love this thing. Incorporation, the scope lever, awesome. Really good, really forward thinking, big fan.
There it is. There it is. There it is.
14.33.
Operating the AR with it, it's of course a breeze. Big fan of it. I've been using these gloves a lot recently. I've gone through several pairs of these because these are actually thinner than the mechanics, along with some very durable fabric. And much like the SKD Delta. Breacher glove, you have the Spec Ops Shop combat glove, which I actually think that they're out of business now. It is definitely more than likely more accurate than what we will need for our purposes. So excellent in that regard. And that comes down to the crown. The crown is essentially with a suppressor mounted. Again, that shorter throw in theory, when you're throwing it, it's going to be quicker to the gut. But for whatever reason, I'm shooting it. That's roughly comparable to what you're seeing from a lot of low-power variable optics. There are, of course, lighter ones, but you have to remember that these optics Now, the Elcan Spectre has short-barreled rifles. On longer builds, like 14.5, 16-inch, I wouldn't recommend it, but it balances it incredibly.
Up.
Cars, barricades, that type of thing in kind of chaotic environments, a lot more easy. So this is made ridiculously long shots with this particular optic. Version are extremely lightweight. This particular rail weighs in and around 10.5 ounces. It's pretty light. Compare that to the Geisley Mark 8, which is one of my favorite rails, and that weighs in at around 13.3 ounces. And the Geisley easily So it's really controllable at, high tempos of speed and all that type of stuff, and I found that it's a lot of fun to shoot. It has even less recoil than something like the HMK MP5, so that you can simply swap that out, put it in, and drop the bolt on it. Do away with that. I'm going to talk to the camera. I'm going to hold up my pants, all that kind of stuff. And no doubt, Lucas is a lot faster than me, not because of his gear, because he practices, but it's something to be said. M6 inside a little magazine. So how the Blue Force Gear Marco works is if I need a chem stick, I simply push it out and then I simply press up on it in order to break the chem stick, shake, and when I don't have to shake it once it hits the ground, it's then going to illuminate. And is my holster setup. All right, gentlemen, and that pretty much finishes up all that kind of encompasses my current first.
And let's go slay some targets.
got one.
Oh, I thought we were doing one.
Twice. Hit. 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 Find it, Mike. Find it.